Well, it is April 9th, and we are alone together once again. We are in the middle of the Corona Challenge, and we're all being challenged in different ways. Some of us are recognizing that, gosh, we need to take better care of ourselves physically. Others are recognizing they need to take better care of themselves emotionally, and others are recognizing they need to take care of themselves spiritually. And that's why I'm here. Hopefully I can give you some inspiration. My name is Sarah McLean, and I'm talking to you from Santa Barbara, California. And I'm so lucky to be here now. I used to live in Sedona, Arizona for 17 years, where we had a pretty regular meditation group that met every Sunday. A lot of them keep joining us here, which I'm excited about. And right when this coronavirus started to become something that the governor shut down the state of California for, a friend of mine told me that I should get on this Zoom platform and start to lead meditations, which I was resistant to. And yet now it's one of the highlights of my day, and the highlights of this virus is the silver lining of being alone together with you. And I really enjoy it. And so if this is your first time, welcome. If this is, one of your many times, welcome back. And I'm really excited that we're here. Now, I got a quick message in the chat from Teresa, who came and met me at a retreat in England, in Oxford, England. And she had a question for me about the types of meditation. So I'm going to unmute you, Teresa, and fire away. I don't know if you can do it or I have to do it. There we are. Oops.
I was just going to ask you about, TM versus Buddhist meditation, just a little bit about that for those of us who are not as well versed in all the different kinds.
Well, this is like a 4-hour conversation, but I will do some basics for you. I had that same question, Teresa, to be honest. I'm just going to mute you for a minute. And I had that same question. Some of you know I started when I was in college. Well, even before that, I started in high school, but I didn't know what I was doing. I sat with my eyes closed in the back of the subway while I was skipping school, taking the train into Cambridge, Massachusetts, into Harvard Square, where I later came to find out that that's where American transcendentalism started, with Ralph Waldo Emerson and Walt Whitman and Margaret Fuller. And it was sort of a radical group of people that got together at Harvard and started to talk about things that weren't necessarily part of the Puritan tradition. Like there's one God that's called the one that arises through each one of our nervous systems. It was a little different than what they had been teaching and what people had been following for years, more traditionally. So they were sort of ostracized, but they kept meeting as this transcendentalist group. So I would skip school, go to Harvard Square, found my peeps were there, even though I didn't do much except for go to coffee shops and talk philosophy with my friends. But I pretended to meditate in the back of the subway, and I sort of set up to do it, legs crossed, hands in the position that I saw other people do. I knew it was kind of cool because the Beatles had been doing it, and I didn't know what to do next. I closed my eyes and waited for the magic to happen, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you did too. And so what was I going to do? Fast forward, I ended up learning a chakra meditation in college. I didn't know, they told me how to do it 2 hours a day, and I was working full-time in the National Guard and in school full-time. I didn't have 2 hours a day to do it. And I couldn't even imagine, as we were talking earlier, that aphantasia, that inability to visualize, was really getting in my way because they wanted me to visualize all these things in my body that I knew nothing about. And so she just had me doing what's called a fruit meditation, where I visualized an apple for the core, the base chakra, an orange for the sacral chakra, yellow, a lemon for the solar plexus chakra, green, limes for the heart chakra. I mean, it was a fruit meditation that didn't really do me any good. And then, any meditation can work, really, right? Then I went on to learn transcendental meditation, which, for those of you who want to know, it's it's a brand name of a practice we've been doing if you've been here regularly with me. It's a silent repetition of a mantra that's in Sanskrit. They have specific ways of teaching. There's a particular lineage called the Saraswati lineage. And I later went to work for the TM organization. That's where I met Deepak Chopra. So then I learned primordial sound meditation, right? So what is that? It's another version of a silent mantra meditation. And then I started to understand about healing meditations because I was diagnosed with cancer. So I did those healing meditations that I've talked to you a little bit about, some of you who have been here before, where you think of your attention as a beam of love that you keep certain areas in your body company with, whether it's an area that you tend to dislike, like I hate my thighs, or if it's an area that you wish were healthier, like maybe you had some surgery or some cancer, or if it's an area that you tend to ignore because it hurts. So bringing your attention to that, that's kind of a healing meditation. So far I'm talking about visualization through the chakra, sound meditations through mantras, healing meditations like through attentional awareness. And then I started to learn about loving kindness practices. And if you got here early, you might have seen that, that little icon that says, may you be well, may you be happy. I'll show it to you again in a moment. Oh, here. See if I can find it. Here it is. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, and may you be peaceful and at ease. So basically in every meditation, whether it's Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Jewish, Greek, whatever, Japanese Zen Buddhist, there's always 3 ingredients, because I didn't mention this, but then I moved into an ashram in India and did a lot of chanting and other types of mantra practices. And then I went off to a Zen Buddhist monastery. So I have had a sort of a journey to exploring these contemplative practices, and I kept thinking there was something more I needed. There was some other practice I really needed to do. We practice here sutra practices and archetype practices and all kinds of unusual self-inquiry practices. So here's what I know. After the years and years of exploring meditation, looking for the exact right one, I realized that everybody has an affinity for meditation, a specific type. And if we went around and talked to everybody here, the 40 some odd people that are here, we'd all find that we have different meditations that we enjoy more than others. Doesn't mean that they're better than others. We're all just kind of a little bit wired for different types. So what I learned is there are 3 ingredients to most meditations. The first one is your gentle, non-judgmental attention. Whatever it is that you're paying attention to me with, I hope. Whatever it is you might look out the window, with, that gentle, you don't have to concentrate, you don't have to focus hard, you don't have to strain. So that's the first ingredient, and that's often accompanied by an intention. Sometimes we ask you to pay attention to the intention while you're here, and that is that intentional commitment to the practice. In Sanskrit, it's called a sankalpa. The second ingredient is so the first one is your willingness to do it, that's sankalpa. The second is your gentle attention, non-judgmental, open awareness, observational. The third ingredient is the focus for your attention, whether it be something you hear or some sound-based meditation. It could be a sound you make, sound you listen to, a sound you think, as in a mantra or a prayer. Second, it could be sight-based, like when we're running up the chakras with fruit, imagining colors, imagining scenes, imagining people. Earlier today, we were imagining archetypes. So you can, and sometimes we imagine light. It can be something in your mind's eye, or it can be something out there, something that you could look at the stars. Apparently, Francis of Assisi got enlightened by spending time looking at the stars and recognizing the vast space between him and the heavenly bodies, and suddenly had what would be called in Zen Buddhism a kensho moment. And then, of course, there are sensation-based meditations. So we talked about sound. You can think it, hear it, make it. Sight, you can see it in your mind or see it out in the world. And sensation, it really covers feelings in general, like emotions, like loving kindness or forgiveness or gratitude meditations, even healing meditations, tuning into sensations. It also includes moving and stillness. If you've seen or heard about whirling dervishes, you know, they're moving, but that's a meditation, a sensation-based meditation, a walking meditation. Also, it can include sensations that are more subtle. For instance, right here as you're sitting with me, you can tune into the sensation of your breath. Breathing in slowly and deeply or at your regular pace and rhythm. Just tuning your attention to that sensation, or the sensations that are here right now, like the sensation of your hands in your lap or your feet on the floor, and or the sensations that are emotional. So you've got movement, stillness, and emotions. So those are the three senses. Generally, we don't use just taste alone because you usually have to include touch and smell and sound. You know, food has a sound, and movement. So we generally don't do that. And for those of you who wonder, well, can you meditate on a smell or an aroma? You can't meditate on it, but it certainly will help you to create a mood for it. So if you've ever noticed, if you walk into a place that has incense or perfume or someone baking cookies, initially you'll register it, but if you stay in that space too long, it will dissipate. So you need a focus in the meditation that will be really steady. So in terms of it coming from certain traditions like Christianity or Judaism or Hinduism or Buddhism, they're all very similar. They may have different flavors. The techniques are the same. In Zen Buddhism, the idea is to wake up to that which is looking through your eyes, to your true nature. They call it emptiness because if you tried to touch it, you probably couldn't, but it's not a void. It's this fullness of awareness. In Hinduism or Vedanta, you know, sometimes it's about merging with the object of your attention, whether it's a deity or whether it's a mantra. And in general, that's really what goes on is you, the subject, and that which you pay attention to, the object, have this relationship in meditation. And yeah, you, the subject, might get sidetracked, you know, with what's for dinner or where am I, or I don't like this meditation, or what's that sound? But still, you keep coming back and you create this relationship. And over time, if you're using very gentle attention, there will be this expansion of awareness so that the separation between you and that which you're paying attention to is almost imperceptible, so that you become everything. It's like your attention expands into a big field of awareness. And then when the chimes go off, you come on back like this. So in terms of Buddhism, it has a different take on Hinduism and or Christianity. Centering prayer would use a particular word like a mantra, whereas contemplative prayer would use a particular prayer that you might sit with, maybe sit with a phrase like "Thy will be done," or the Lectio Divina, and saying a prayer and just considering and contemplating it. So there are all kinds of ways to meditate. I think you should pick the one that you like. And there's so many mantras out there. I always say, let the mantra choose you. So there's one part that I said those three ingredients are important for all, except for a few meditations. So the ingredients again are your intention, your gentle attention, and the focus. But some meditations only include the first two, your attention and your intention. But there's this open awareness aspect of it where you simply sit and wait for whatever impulse or whatever sensory experience is coming into the screen of your awareness, and you attend to it, but you don't attach to it. It's sort of that feeling we get at the end of the meditation when I sound the chimes and I say, don't open your eyes just yet. In that yummy moment where your awareness is expanded, you're not doing anything, you're simply being, that's open awareness. So hopefully that helped. I've talked an awful lot. I'm going to get us into meditation now. I like to start every meditation with a mindfulness practice, which is a sensory-based practice where you pay attention to what is here, whether you're listening to it, whether you're feeling it, and maybe even if you're seeing it, if your eyes are open and or closed and you notice the light in your eyelids. And then we move from there, we'll do a mantra practice. Mantras are silent sounds you say to yourself. Some of them are coordinated with the breath, others are not. Today we will coordinate it with the breath. And maybe we'll do a little heart-centered breath. So let's see what happens next, shall we? May not even be in that order. I always kind of go with it. Thanks for being here. So let's get comfortable wherever you are. Sitting upright ideally if you can. You don't have to sit perfectly straight. Let yourself be supported wherever you are. Comfort is key. Take a moment and raise your shoulders up to your ears and then let them down again. Sometimes we have this unconscious holding pattern. If you need to leave before our meditation's over, it's perfectly fine, but I'm going to probably go over about 5 minutes because I talk a lot. So let's close the eyes, but don't forget, if you want to keep them open, gazing towards the floor, you can certainly do that. Get into your position now, and again, we like to begin by recognizing our intention, whatever it may be for you. Whether you want just a little peace of mind, to be healthier, or to work out some issues in your life, or to get enlightened. Whatever your intention is, let your attention rest on it. Whether you've identified a phrase or a word. And then let yourself become aware of the sounds in the environment. Noticing sounds that are far and sounds that are closer. This is a practice of observing without resisting sounds, just welcoming what's here. Noticing the sounds of the sounds rather than the source of the sounds. And noticing how some sounds come and go, while others may be constant. Now tune into whatever sounds you might be feeling or hearing in your body. Maybe your breath or your heartbeat. Maybe your tummy. There's a saying which says, lose your mind and come to your senses. So now we'll come to the senses of sensation, what it feels like to sit here. Noticing physical sensations such as lightness or heaviness, tingling, warmth, coolness, maybe even a sense of itchiness or a little tightness. So, like a detective that has a magnifying glass of love, let's scan the interior of the body and the exterior. Just noticing what's here, again, observing it without a story, welcoming everything and resisting nothing. You can start by softening your face and notice the sensations that are here. Perhaps the air on your skin, or the way your eyelids come together. Noticing the tongue in your mouth. And as you scan your body, letting go of any tenseness or any holding that might be unconscious until you get there. You can tuck your chin a little bit if you like and allow the back of your neck to lengthen. as you scan your throat and your neck. Noticing your shoulders. Maybe noticing the way the clothing drapes over your skin. Letting your arms hang, feeling them relax. Noticing your hands. And bringing your attention to the back of your body. Perhaps those contact points where your back meets the chair or the sofa. Scanning for lightness, heaviness. Welcoming what's here. Bringing your attention to the front of your body. Welcoming every sensation you feel as you let your tummy soften. Letting your breath be natural. Feeling the support underneath you as you soften your pelvis, your hips. And notice what it feels like to be supported. Noticing your legs. Whatever sensations are here. Perhaps you notice your feet on the floor or inside your socks and shoes. Bringing your attention to your entire body and notice what part of your body is calling you. As your body speaks to you in sensation, let your awareness be with it without having to do anything or judge it or change it. Kind of keeping it company as you would a good friend. Now let your awareness expand to include your entire body again. And notice where you begin and end, if you do. Notice the stillness that's present. Notice the subtle movements, perhaps the movements of tingling or blood running through your veins, or you feel your heartbeat. And bringing your attention to the gentle rise and fall of your chest. You can even imagine behind your breastbone a light or a warmth, the center point of view. And if you like, you can even imagine that there's a breath that moves in and out from your heart center, activating the qualities of compassion, kindness, clarity, connection. And we'll begin a mantra practice now. The mantra is in Sanskrit. It is Aham on the inhale, A-H-A-M. Prema on the exhale, P-R-E-M-A. Aham Prema. It means I am pure love. Aham Prema. Silently saying it to yourself as you breathe naturally. Aham on the inhale, Prema as you exhale. The repetition of this mantra is very gentle and relaxed. It's almost like an internal whisper or chant. Aham Prema. If you notice you're waiting for something to happen or you're trying to feel a certain way, let that go as you return to the mantra. Come on back and be kind to yourself. Aham Prema. Tuning into the sound of the mantra. Letting go of expectations. We'll meditate like this for a few more minutes and I'll keep track of the time. You're doing it correctly as long as you're not trying too hard. And keeping your eyes closed, you can stop repeating the mantra. Let's sit in the open awareness for a minute or so. I'll be sounding the chime now, but I invite you to keep your eyes closed. It's always important to come out of meditation slowly, even if you don't think you went very deep. So let's sit here for a minute or so in stillness. Maybe you can dedicate your practice to someone or something or some cause, as the Tibetan Buddhists do. And you can begin to deepen your breath, become aware of the sounds around you, with your eyes closed. You can stretch into the space around you if you like. Notice how you're feeling, tuning in with your body, your emotions, your mind. And then when you feel like you'd like to open your eyes, do so at your own pace. I like to do it first with a downward gaze. And then when I feel ready, open them all the way. Take your time, there's no rush. I invite you to put your palms together if it feels comfortable, and I like to bring my thumbs to my breastbone and honor that light that lives in me, that love that lives in me, that is the same as the love that lives in you. That light and that love that calls us each forth to live our most beautiful life. So namaste. Thank you for joining me in that meditation. It was yummy. I could do more and more. Maybe I will. How are you doing? Aham prema. Aham prema. How was that? Good. Got the thumbs up from Reed. I'm glad your neighbor's here, Elishaba. Welcome. Anybody can meditate. It doesn't take superhuman powers of concentration. Even if you don't think that went well, you still got some benefit from it. You've rested your nervous system, your blood pressure has been lowered, you've made your immune system a little more smart so it doesn't attack you. It gets a little wiser. You've been able to change your circulatory patterns. If you've had that slight fight or flight feeling all day, the circulation is now moving through the rest of your body, back into your belly, into your sex organs, instead of just being pumped up into your cardiovascular system. Your cortisol has been lowered, your adrenaline's been balanced out, your platelets have even gotten a little less sticky so that it reduces your risk of stroke and heart attack. And so, yeah, it's pretty good for you. Plus, it's increasing your DHEA, which is your youth hormone. That is the master hormone. And so it makes you less rickety as you get older and a little more glowy, which who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to sparkle? So how are you doing? Yeah, good. Thumbs up, Carol. How was that, Teresa? Are you still there? I want to see if my answer was, oops.
Yeah.
Was it okay?
It was, thank you. It really helped, and that was a wonderful meditation. Thank you.
Probably not long enough.
No.
I talk too much.
No,
Yeah.
no. I loved it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. And Deborah, how did you do? I see my friend Deborah from San Diego. She's still in the gap, huh? I'll unmute you. There you go. Oops. Maybe you're not meant to talk.
There. That was very deep. That was wonderful.
Good. I'm so glad. Well, I always talk about the 3 ingredients. What were you going to say? I'm sorry to interrupt
Well, it was definitely a yum.
you. Good. We always aim for the yums and stay away from the yucks.
Yep.
For sure. For sure. Those 2 mantras that make life, it really narrows it down, doesn't it? So move towards the yums and away from the yucks. And, sometimes the yums are meditating with me. Sometimes it's meditating on your own. Sometimes it's serving others. Sometimes it's taking care of yourself. Right? We got some other notes in there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Will and Karen and Felicia. Thank you, Paula. I'm so glad you were here. And Carol, anybody's invited, bring your friends. We're going to be doing this 4 o'clock meditation, or 4 o'clock my time in California. We're going to be doing this meditation till the end of the month for sure. And who knows, longer. So how was it for everyone, for anyone? Any questions or comments? Well, while you're thinking, if there is one, I wanted to say there are 3 really important parts of everybody's spiritual practice. I know you've heard this from me before, but the first is you and your practice. What is that practice? Is it prayer? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Whatever is going to yoke your attention to that, which is looking through your eyes. Second, treasure, as they say in the Zen Buddhist tradition, is knowledge. Where are you getting it from? I know a list of us reading the Yoga Sutras. Some of you are reading the Talmud, the Torah. Some of you read the Bible. Others read mystical poetry, the Upanishads. Where are you getting yours? And be sure that you keep on fertilizing your mind with the good stuff instead of the news. And then next, the most important, I feel, for spiritual practice is your community of practice. Sometimes it's definitely for introverts. You're alone, you're, closing your eyes, you're not talking to anybody, but there's something about meditating together and seeing your face and the 45 people that joined us today. And even though we might not know each other, there's something very potent about meditating together. I hope you feel supported, and I love having you here. Would anyone else care to share before I say goodbye?
Sarah, I'll tell you, my doggy down there, loved your meditation too. She was snoring the whole way.
I love it. Well, it's that brainwave coherence. Those objective measures I was telling you about, the blood pressure, the respiration rate, the platelets. One other thing that happens is your brainwaves start to settle down. You move from that overactivity to the beta, to the delta, to the theta. Can happen. And dogs are very attuned. Every animal's very attuned to what you're thinking. Even plants, even water. Everything's attuned to your mood. So, and they love that brainwave coherence. Good job, Jamie. I know you're in tax season. How you doing? And you're homeschooling.
Well, I picked up a substitute teacher that got laid off. So
perfect.
That helped.
It's just a little too much, that's good loving kindness, taking care of yourself that way. But good for you.
We're making it.
Good, great.